Hello and welcome to the next video of Get to Know the Track series. This time, and I am going to botch this name, we are at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. I'm pretty sure I have pronounced this all kinds of wrong. Yeah, here's my cat trying to be in the picture. We'll just leave that in. A little bit about the circuit. A fast low downforce circuit with a very long straight stretching from all the way from the famous first corner La Source up to through Eau Rouge-Raidillon combination onto the Les Combes combination, where cars are reaching 270-ish kilometers per hour. And then a little bit of a technical bit before coming again on the back straight, which is again a very long and fast section through the famous Blanchimont corner, flat out. So cars that are good on straight speed will do very good here. Unfortunately, the Porsche is not one of them, but it still does a very good job around here. It's a tricky track, a long lap, so it can get quite tiresome to repeat it time and again. But anyway, I'm rambling on a little bit too much. I will see you in a moment in the replay when we will dissect my flying lap, talk about braking points, turning points, apexes, acceleration points, lines, and so on. Hopefully you will find this video useful. And like I said, I'll see you in a moment in the replay. Right, and here we are in the replay, just about to navigate the bus stop chicane before starting the flying lap. And yeah, let's just let the video or the replay play through until turn 1. We will talk about the bus stop chicane at the end of the lap, of course. So this here will be the start-finish line right here. And we are running until turn 1. I will pause the video here and go onto the onboard camera. Maybe let's reverse it a little bit. There we go. Like this. Here you have the 100 meters board that is clearly visible on the left. It's up high, so it's there's no danger of this braking point marker to go away. And you also have the 50 meters board here, and right in the middle is this fence that is slightly reddish in color or has a red paint. This is usually my braking point marker for this car. Your mileage may vary depending on your setup or car, and I attempt to brake when this red piece of fence is just about to disappear behind this roll cage or the A-pillar, and I will let it play through a little bit. So as you can see, right about here I start braking right before this starts disappearing. Heavy braking zone, you want to brake in a straight line as much as possible and then dip in into the curb here, because you can run it over quite a lot. I do think that I do miss the apex here a little bit, but I still kept the lap because it was an okay-ish lap, I would say. So turning point is round about when you start reaching this tire barrier, the yellow tire barrier here. You want to start dipping in, or maybe a little bit later. I was maybe a little bit quick on the turn in here. Could have gone a little bit later, but maybe a bit tighter, as I do miss the apex here. You can run this curb over because the car is wide enough. It's still legal if your the lap is still legal if your left-hand tires are still on this curb. You cannot go beyond it because you will hit this wall inside. So as for acceleration, a little bit before the apex, you want to go on throttle, and you want to be on this curb. I am way off wide here. I could have gone here tighter, and the curb does help rotate the car a little bit, so there's no danger of you running out wide or anything. if you nail the apex correctly here. Then it's just acceleration, acceleration, and nothing more to add basically here. Let me speed up a little bit because this is a long run down to Eau Rouge now. And we will pause right about here. As you can see, I am keeping all the way to the right. I'm almost glued to the wall on the right here. And in terms of the racing line, what you want to take, you want to run over this left curb here and run a little bit up the hill on the left hand side, then turn in rather hard. Careful not to hit this curb on the right too much. Some cars can take it. The Porsche cannot take it. It does unsettle the car quite too much, and we'll get to more in a moment. So it should be flat out, I think, in all the cars. As you can see, I take a lot of curb here. I did have some moments or some laps where I would take this too much. There is a bump at the end of the curb here, so I'm already here maybe on the danger side of things. I would want to go off the curb a little bit sooner, a little bit. I'm still aiming like here towards this beginning of this curb here. I would like to maybe aim more towards the right to get off the curb sooner, to not hit that hole here, which does unsettle the car. And if this happens, you can get very twitchy or even spin out up Raidillon, and you don't want that. Yeah, then like I said, try to keep it to the left or a little bit pointed straight upwards the hill for a little bit longer, and then turn in. Be careful not to hit the curb. As you may see here, the car is unsettled a little bit in this occasion here. As you can see, I did hit the bump here. See, bump, and now the car starts sliding. I have to correct it a little bit, and this here is the tricky part. Here you just have to trust that the track is there where you left it the last lap around, because it's the left-hander of the Raidillon combination here is invisible to you right now. You do not see it, but you just have to trust that it is there. And as soon as you start moving away from the curb, you want to start aiming towards the left a little bit, as you'll see in the replay here. See, I am sliding outwards quite a bit, but that's still okay. And I do have to correct the car here a little bit. I did lose the rear a little bit, so I'm fighting the car all the way up the hill. But here's the fun part, is this left-hander. You may think that you're going to invalidate, but you can actually go very, very tight here. Believe it or not, this was still a valid lap. It wasn't invalidated, and as you can see, I'm already off the curb. I'm nowhere near it anymore. Yep. See, I am on this white line that is quite wide here, or of the curb here, but yeah, I am definitely not on the yellow and red part anymore. And it didn't invalidate. The lap was still a valid lap, so you can use this, but in general, you don't want to risk it that much. It's still okay to go over the curb with the right-hand tires, but not this much. I would say at least half a car's width more to the right is a safe bet. And one other thing that you will want to take care when you are riding over this curb, you want to have the steering wheel as straight as possible. So in my case here, let's go back a little bit more. I'm turning, I lose the rear here a little bit. There is a slight bump here in the track, and because of it, I have to correct. I have to go too far to the left and that's why I'm so deep into the left-hander here. If I wouldn't lose the rear end here, I would have done a great line through here. I don't want to say a perfect line, but it would be a lot better than it is now. And I would have been a little bit more to the right. But like I said, it's still valid. The game still kept it as valid, so I will take it as valid as well. Exit, you can take a lot of the exit curb here as well if you need to, although you don't want to. You want to aim from this left curb here, that you'll be leaving or exiting the left-hander right about where I exited here, or maybe even a little bit tighter, but not a problem. Even if you do run a little bit wide, but do try and get off the curb as soon as possible, because it is bumpy at the end here as well. Okay, let's enjoy the Camel straight, which has a small kink here, and run down to the next corner, to the Lacombe combination, and pause it right here. I may have paused it. No, I didn't. 100 meters board up high, your braking reference point, or you can use the beginning of this curve here. In a race, this might be obstructed a little bit, so do keep an eye out for the board here as well. You want to, oopsie, too quick. Let's go back. You want to start braking or be on the brakes by the beginning of this curve. As you can see, I am here as well. Shift down all the way down to third. Again, braking points may differ from car or setup. Turn in. You can be quite early on the turn in, and you can brake quite a lot into the corner, and then do run over the curb a lot. It's very safe to run over the curb here. It's not bumpy at all. I try to coast over it and then just go on the throttle as soon as I'm on the apex. Just a short blip of a throttle to accelerate a little bit towards the left-hander. Now the left-hander curb here is a little bit bumpy, so if you do run it over too much, you will be thrown off it, or you will be jumping around a little bit, risking that you will run too wide into the next corner, which you do not want. So this Lacombe is really a combination. You have, if you get the first corner wrong, then you'll get the second corner wrong, and you'll definitely get the third corner wrong. So when you're exiting the first right-hander of the combination, you don't want to run out too wide. That's why you want to run over the curb here. Let's change the camera. You want to run over this green concrete bit, because it does help turn the car around a little bit, and you don't want to exit the corner any wider than I did here. You want to be somewhere in the middle of the road here when you start already turning left for the left-hander, with throttle fully open, and then just coast through the left-hander, again going over the curb. Be careful not to go too much, because you will be thrown around. I was maybe a tad slow on the accelerator here. I could have gone a little bit more, but be careful. If you will go on the accelerator too quickly, you will be running out too wide here. You don't want to run out too wide, because I was a little bit late. I did also maybe go a little bit tight on the exit here. But you don't want to go wider out than maybe another 3/4 of a car's width towards the right here. Because if you do, you will have to correct your entry for the final corner of the Lacombe combination a bit too much, or you will completely miss the entry point, or just unsettle the car at the entry, because you will be first turning hard left, then you'll have to quickly turn hard right, and this just unsettles the car. You don't want that. You want to exit the second corner nice and tight, keep to the left, then quickly switch over again to the left, straighten the car out. You may need to brake a little bit here, depending on the car and setup. Just a blip of the brake, just to get the nose turned in, not too much. And again, you want to turn in, again, I don't know, it's hard to spot. I do it more on a feel basis. Um, yeah, I don't really look at the things on the left here. My eyesight is already focused on the right hand side here, so it's really hard to say what can you use as a turn-in reference. But as soon as I come to the left of the track, I already know that I have to go to the right. I just lift off the throttle. I don't brake here, and you want to go quickly on the throttle here. I was a tad bit too soon on the throttle maybe, so I had to fight the car a little bit, and I also ran a little bit wide from from the curb. Sorry about that. Let's see one more time. As you can see here, I'm already going on the throttle. This was maybe a tad bit too early, and it made me miss the apex here a little bit. You want to graze this curb a little bit, not too much. Maybe in some cars like the Mercedes or the Bentley, you can run it over because they handle it very well. The Porsche is not the biggest fan of the curbs here, so do not go over it too much because it does unsettle the car. It's a bit squirmy on the exit. It can get dancy, but still okay. As for the exit, you can exploit this curb quite a lot. Again, as long as the right-hand tires are on the yellow and red curb, you are completely safe. Just be careful not to go beyond that, or even worse, into the sand. In some cases, the exit curb can upset the car too much, and it can spin you off to the right into the wall here. The wall is very close here, so be careful of that as well. And in all cases, do get off the curb before it ends here. Otherwise, you'll be jumping around like a jumping jack, and you do not want that. Okay, moving on to the next downhill right-hander. Let's jump on board again. Braking points, again, 100 meters board, clearly visible, and the curb on the left visible as well in good conditions, unless you have a race going on where there's a lot of cars in front of you. That might not be the case. I brake after 100 meters board. As you can see, I'm about to pass it and I'm still full throttle. My braking point is the beginning of the curb. That's when I want to brake. As for entry, you can go tight, you can go wide. If you're in a race and you have someone behind you, you will want to go in sooner. But in a qualifying situation, or if no one is behind, you can take a little bit of a wider entry and then start closing the corner in more and more, just so that you carry in more speed into the corner. You can trail brake into the corner quite a lot. I didn't in this occasion because I did slow down maybe a tad bit too quickly, and I tried to correct it with a little bit more throttle. As for when to accelerate, again, a hard one to spot, but normally when you are in this position, you want to be almost full on throttle already. You will learn this by the feel. If you go on too soon, you will drift out too much, or you will have too much oversteer on exit. If you have too much oversteer, try shifting up earlier, so you will induce a bit more understeer instead. But if you will go on the throttle too early, you will be pushed out too wide onto this curb here. And that's usually, when this happens, usually the car is unsettled and you spin off into the nice green wall here, which you don't want, of course. As soon as you exit, we are lining up for no name. You want to aim towards the middle of, or first third of this red and yellow curb. Full throttle. And as soon as you reach it, I could have gone here a tad bit more to the right. I could have used more track here, a little bit. And here you don't want to slow down too much. So just a dab of brakes. For me, it was a bit too much brakes here. Normally you just want to dab the brakes just to get the nose downward, so the weight forward and the nose down, so you have weight over the front tires. And as for turn in, this is, I would say, quite a late turn in. You don't want to be turning in already too much. You want to let the car run out a little bit, then turn in and do use the curb. You can use the curb here a lot. And as for throttle, you want to go early on the throttle here. There is quite a long bit after this corner, so you want to maximize the exit speed as much as possible. And you want to use this curb to your advantage. It does sort of pull your car around here. In this instance, I wasn't, I think, the cleanest. I could have gone on the throttle here a little bit sooner. Or I wouldn't want to say I could have gone on the throttle sooner, but more aggressive. As you can see, I waited almost until I'm off the curb to be fully on the throttle. You want to be a little bit sooner. You want to be around the apex. You already want to be fully on the throttle, if at all possible. Again, exit, you can be very wide here. This is still okay as long as the left-hand tires are on the curb. On the red and yellow curb, you are in the bounds of the track. But again, you want to get off it because this section here, when the curb ends, is bumpy. All right. Running up to Pouan. Now here, this one is quite a tricky one to spot where you want to brake. You want to be all the way on the right here on the curb, and you want to brake somewhere around this red bit in the fence, maybe a tad bit later when you pass it. Really hard to spot, and also a very mild brake. I was maybe a bit early on the brakes here, and you just kind of want to coast through the first left-hander of Pouan here. And this is a double apex corner, and yeah, you don't want to run out too wide, but you also don't want to be too slow. So I recommend like half a corner, coasting, very low throttle. As for entry point, when you reach the end of this curb here, you can start turning in. You don't want to touch the inside curb. It's quite high. It unsettles the car. And as you see, I do kind of graze it here. This is still okay. But if you'll go over it too much, if you'll touch the grass, you will be unsettling the car way too much. As for throttle application, when you are on the curb, near the curb, starting to get off it, nail it. Nail it. It's very safe. Let the car wash out wide. I kept it maybe a tad bit too tight, maybe a tad bit too late on the throttle. I could have used a little bit more of the curb here, but still very close. And yeah, again, if you need to use the whole curb, use it. I don't like to use the whole curb. I kind of like to go maybe half a car's width more to the right, maybe 3/4 car width more to the right, and that's about my limit where I want to be. All the time you're keeping the steering lock. Try to keep it as consistent, as open as possible, but you also want to get as close as possible to this inside curb here. Again, try to avoid it. It can disturb the car, so it can be dangerous. And again, exit, same story. You can use the whole curb here if needed, although in some occasions, if you go over with the right hand tires here, it does unsettle the car, and you of course can spin out. All right. Now for Piff Paff, breaking point references are, of course, this huge banner up top here. This is one big one, and the beginning of the curb here on the left. I want to brake around 10 meters before that curb to get the car, slow down. Slow down. As you can see, I'm already fully on the brakes here almost. And as for the corner itself, you want to brake as much as you can in the straight line and slowly start turning in and aim for the inside curb. You want to ride it. You want to ride the curb out. Could have gotten a little bit tighter here. Just let the car coast over it. Don't go too quickly on the throttle because you will wash out to the left too much, and you don't want that because the left-hander of piff-paff combination is coming right up after it. But as soon as you pass the apex, you can start applying the throttle and it should be safe. Keep the car to the right about where I'm exiting here, sort of middle of the road, and just open up the left-hander again a little bit and do ride this inside curb. I don't in this instance. I missed it. I turned in a tad bit too late. I could have turned it in a little bit sooner. As you can see here, here's where I would already want to be turning, so that I would hit the curb a little bit more. I was a split second too late, and I could have still corrected by turning a little bit more, but I would risk understeer. So I did wash out here a little bit more, and because of it, I couldn't go on throttle as soon as I wanted to. And also this happened. My back end kicked out a little bit, so I had to correct it again, which you don't want to. You want to ride the inside curb, and when you start to see that you're about to reach the end of this, this grayish part here, so this concrete slabs or whatever here, when you start to see that you're about to reach the end of this, you want to start going on the throttle, slowly starting to get off the curb, and just let the geometry of the track, of the corner, which is leaning a little bit outwards, let it drag you towards the outside here. Again, you can use a lot of exit curb here. As you can see, I am all the way on the limit here. It's still safe, but do watch out if you run out too wide. The gravel trap here can catch you out, can spin you out, so be careful. And this is sort of the limit where you can be. I am a little bit wide here because of the dance move that I had on coming out of the corner, where the rear end again stepped out and I had to correct it. I would want to be personally a half a car's width more to the left, just to keep the left-hand tires closer to the white line. That's where I want to be. Yeah, and not all the way here, because it can get a little bit dicey out here. So just to be safe, I like to keep the line a little bit tighter. Okay, then we're coming to Stavlo 1 and Stavlo 2. So correct the car, or aim the car towards the left as quickly as possible. Get to the left side of the track, full throttle, braking point around 10 meters before this curb, 5 meters maybe. That's my braking point. Not too much braking, just a short braking zone and a late entry. Keep it in third and keep it tighter to the inside curb that I did here. I am running a little bit out wide. I was a little bit late on the brakes in this occasion. I want to be on the brakes a little bit sooner than I was here, but just a tad, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 meters is all I would want to be sooner here. I want to get close to the inside curb. I don't like running over it. It does unsettle the car. It is quite high. And I want to go quickly on the throttle because after Stavlo 1, there's a long run up to the bus stop. Even though we do have Stavlo 2 here, but that's a full throttle corner, and you want to maximize the exit out of this corner. And as for when when you're near the apex, when you're just passing the apex, or maybe a tad bit before the apex, you want to go on the throttle. And I had to go a little bit later because I am a little bit wide, so if I would go too soon, I would run out too wide. I think I was here again very much on the limit, and I even actually lifted on the exit, which did compromise my exit. Yeah, as you can see, I had to lift because I was running out wide. And yeah, this was just the sacrifice that I had to make. You don't want to make that. So keep the tighter line, accelerate on the apex, and just be careful that the exit doesn't catch you out. From the inside of the car, it does seem like you're already way off limits, but you're still not. I could have here still been half a car's width wider, and it would still be a legal lap. But again, for safety, I don't like to. This is about as wide as I want to go. And I want to ride on this curb for the next corner. I don't want to go off it yet. So I want to open up the Stavlo 2 corner as much as possible. When I am starting to reach the end, I want to go off the curb here, like I do in this instance. And keeping the throttle all the way open and touching the inside curb, not too much, because again it does unsettle the car, and at least it does the Porsche. And yeah, the exit here can be tricky. The corner can be understeery. You can be dragged out to the exit way too much. The geometry of the track, again, the corner leans a little bit towards the outside, and this does induce understeer. So just watch out that you won't go too wide. It's safer to lift, definitely, but if you're going for lap times, you don't want to lift. You want to be full throttle here, no hint of lifting. And in my occasion, I am actually quite tight in this corner, but you don't want to go too wide because this curb is bumpy. It is bumpy quite a lot, and if you go outside, even if you're still legal, it can start bumping your car around, and it can cause you issues. All right, let's speed it up now because we do have quite a long section here. There's nothing much to talk about here, except maybe the scenery of the trees, the famous turning trees of ACC. Blanchimont, full speed, full throttle, don't lift, never lift except if it's raining, but in dry you don't want to lift. Extend and open up the corner as much as you can. So keep the left-hand tires inside the track, and you will be safe. Turn in, just kind of go with the flow of the corner, I would say. But as you start to reach the end of this, or the beginning of this kink here, that's kind of your cue where you want to already be turned into the corner. Inside curb, very dangerous, very bumpy, so do take care. Some cars can handle it, some cars can sometimes handle it, some cars don't even know it exists and they just run through it like there's nothing even there. But yeah, you do want to take care. If your car is being bumped around too much, try to avoid it. You don't need to use it. It's still a quick lap even if you have to go around it. I prefer not to hit it because it can either unsettle my car too much or run me out wide on the exit. Exit again, you can be very wide on the exit here. As you can see, I run out quite a lot. Still legal, still all okay. And now we come up to the bus stop. Oh, braking point markers. Yes, we have those. We have quite a lot of references. 150 meters board, 100 meters board. Where you want to brake? 130, 140, 120, somewhere around this area is usually when you want to brake. Let's slow it down a little bit. I am braking at around 130 meters roundabout. And as you can see, I'm aiming for this curb on the left. It's a hard braking area, fully on the brakes, straight line as much as you can. You do want to use the this left curb here, which I don't in this occasion, but you do want to run on it as much as possible to open up the right-hander here as much as possible. And I am maybe turning in a little bit soon. I would normally like to run, like I said, on this curb and have a later entry, a tad bit later, not too much. And I do like to run over the inside curb, not the sausage curb though. At least not in the Porsche. It does unsettle my car too much. Some cars can just hammer over this and they don't have a problem with this curb. I'm sure the saying is the right-hander it's like going over a hump a little bit. So be careful. It can unsettle you. And you don't want to go on throttle here quickly or too quickly because you don't want to exit too far left. So you want to keep the line tight around here. And you do want to accelerate as much as possible. Still keeping a lot of lock, almost like if you're aiming to enter the pits here. And then when the car straightens out, start turning left and just go off throttle. Some cars may require you to blip the brake a little bit. Again, use the inside curb and do go on, sorry about that, do go on throttle very early and use the inside curb as much as possible. Let the TC handle the spinning wheels. You want to be on throttle when you're at the apex, 100%, and you just want to gradually start opening up the steering so that you exit wide, so that you straighten out the exit as much as possible, so that you can build the speed as quickly as possible. Again, as it is the theme with Spa, you can use a lot of the exit curb and still be in the safe zone. And that's it. That's the lap of Spa-Francorchamps. In this presentation lap, I did 2:18.3, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see if the time pops up. As for lap times, high 2:15s, low 2:16s are, I would say, alien level, at least from what I see. 2:17s, very good laps. 2:18s, still good laps. 2:19s, okay laps. Of course, it all depends on your skill level. Anything that's below 2:20 is a very good lap in my eyes. As close, to 18.36 was my lap in this instance. So anything below 2:20 is a very good lap, and I think very much achievable by everyone. And I hope that my video or my explanation has helped you shave off at least 1/10 of your lap here. If it did, please leave a like, leave a comment if you find these videos interesting or informative. And subscribe to the channel if you want more. I will see you next time. And now I will also play the full replay or the full onboard video of me driving this hot lap. That's it. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, and bye-bye.